Order. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay.
We're all done. Well, kick me again.
Keep that.
Kick me again.
Yeah, why not? Okay. We do have, or I should say, we do not have the minutes ready yet for you. That's my fault. So pass on those till next month. As for our privilege of the floor, I don't see him. We'll continue to move along. When he comes, if he shows up, we'll give him that opportunity at that time.
Does he know to come upstairs? He knows to come up here, right?
They were down there.
There's no, the door, auditorium door's closed, and nobody's down
Okay.
there. He knows to come up here.
Would he know to come up here, Mayor?
You should know, yeah. Come to the lobby?
Yeah.
Anybody down there?
No.
Is there anybody in the auditorium
Right.
tonight?
I didn't see anybody.
No, the planning board was last Tuesday because they had a complication this.
Okay, all right. Okey doke. Alright, and I guess then we'll get started with committee reports, legislative. Megan, how would you like to start us off? What have you got other than the financial stuff?
Other than the financial stuff,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, let me know, but I didn't bring anything tonight.
I'll just back up a little bit on the correspondence. This is more for trustee Humphreys. Since I went over this last week, this is a membership request from the BEA, which is the Livingston County Business Education Alliance. Have we ever had a membership with them?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. We also got recognized by the Department of Health on with a CDC 2014 Water Fluoridation Quality Award. And we were informed of grant funding for water fluoridation systems, and we may or may not have an opportunity to use that. It would depend on just how much money it would cost us to get it and how much we would get out of it. And everybody should in their folder have a copy of a letter that Karen Schleyer sent out to Williamson Law concerning the lack of, the insufficiencies of the software it's using for water billing. That's just to keep you informed that she's been talking with people about it.
Haven't we had problems with that for some time, and there's some talk of it?
It's never measured up
Right,
to what we wanted it to be,
exactly.
and we have not gone any further with that. She's taking care of that at this point in time.
So we still play with Williamson Law.
If they can get it fixed, but if they don't, then we're gonna have to revisit it.
We've had trouble with Williamson Law over this thing for several years now.
If it's not one thing, it's something else, but there's been some problems right along, whether or not it was that or if it was something else. It's pretty much, when they designed it, it didn't really take into consideration the things we needed. So, we've been trying to get that to, well, for instance, I think one of the more recent ones is it keeps putting the wrong date on the darn thing that the reading took place.
Yeah.
Minor thing like that. Okay.
Could we get from Karen a list of what the issues have been and if they've been addressed or not?
Probably can.
Give us some idea of the types of issues, the magnitude, and whether or not they've been addressed.
Want that to go through Megan, or
No, I can take care
you're
of
gonna address it with
Yeah.
Karen?
Yeah, I'll just ask her tomorrow, because there's a couple of things I have to talk
Okay.
about. Also, we received a report from the Office of Housing Community Renewal on our micro enterprise project. That we've talked about before. We did real well on that, no major findings or anything. Yeah, let's see the next one here. Yeah, can't remember that. Then there's the TOMA email on the community development housing application. And also have the Village Boards Association dinner here in Dansville in February. That'll be the third Wednesday. Megan and I have talked about, we're going to try to have it over at Jack's Grill, Gaslight Grill. We'll try to work out time and a place over there. And we're not sure exactly who the speaker will be. It's going to be probably one of two people. One was recommended by Avon, and the other one, gal who's now Deb, Davis, yeah. She recommended, at least we have the one gal there, who's now the new grants writer for Livingston County.
Yes.
Heather Grant, I think her name is. Last name's Grant, believe it or not. I thought that was rather interesting. So, that pretty much brings us up to date on all that good stuff. Now getting to the committee reports. Okay, the other day there were only 2 department heads available. Tammy was taking care of a sewage issue, and Megan was taking care of a child issue. So that we decided that 1 June would be the deadline for each of the departments having their own procedures. Okay. I have yet to talk to Empire Access because I was gone there for the week, and this past weekend and everything has been a little bit under the weather. I think we need to put out ads for police officers. Anything in particular people want to see in the ad?
Where do they normally turn their resumes into? Would that be the chief, the clerk, the mayor?
Well, they've done both, I think. I would prefer if the last time we did, I had a major push on this, they actually came through me. And I turned them over to the chief after I made copies for the board. That was a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, probably time flies.
Did that work well last time?
I'm not even sure. Was that Brian?
Yeah, the ads, Rob knows, the ads have never accomplished anything. We've advertised Rochester, Corning, Elmira a couple different times. No one does it because it just doesn't solicit anything. I mean, we'd be like the only agency at 50 miles in each direction that does that.
We don't have to put them out, but
It just doesn't accomplish anything. That's just my opinion. Rob lived through it as well.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's money spent. There was never any benefit from it that I saw. There's
So
good
is just something we
intention,
can maybe
but-
put up on our Facebook page, you know, people are on Facebook, and that would be, at least it would be free and inexpensive, rather than spending all that money.
yeah.
Worthwhile.
People are on Facebook.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Okay. And I still have to do the letter for snow removal to each of our business owners. It's been rather difficult to get in the swing of things with a snow shovel because of the temperatures of late. But then Last place I was more recently at in Texas, they've had snow and we haven't.
We like
When I
that.
left there, it was in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, headed for the 80s. In Dallas, Fort Worth area. I don't think that they've had the snow, but there's been snow in Texas.
You can keep it.
Well, okay. Do we have any more on the pension program for the
I
police
believe,
officers?
I believe, my understanding was it was decided the board was gonna set up a meeting with the union, so I didn't move
Yeah,
forward with it.
but I was wondering if we had any more clarification on what we did have. Okay. No,
No, but if there's something more you want, just let me know,
All right.
and I can get updates.
How hard was it to just obtain the number of the, for the change? Was that it?
I could just shoot them an email and they would
If you
reply
could,
with
that'd be
it.
great, just so we get an updated number on that, based on the number of officers we have now and where they are in their career.
Mhm.
If you don't mind, that'd be
Yep.
great, thank you.
public safety, trustee Whitenack.
Code enforcement.
Yes, I have my report from last week. I currently don't have any changes to that report. Except to, the mayor already knows about it, and our village clerk and our police department and our town clerk and everybody know, but I will not be at January's meetings because I'm off the first 2 weeks of January. The mayor approved that months ago. So I'm going to try on Christmas Eve to do a December report for you so that you at least have from December 1st to December 24th for the January meeting. Other than that, things progressing along well. The hospital now has their building permit. I gave them last week to finally get it. So that's moving forward very quickly. Save a lot, still not gonna open until February 1st.
February 1st.
So, any questions, Edmund?
Anything from the depot?
When I hear something, when they put something in writing, it'll go to the planning board, and that's a 3-month process to get through the planning board. But nothing. I have another location on Main Street that says they're gonna put in a distillery now. And I said, supposedly that's what's gonna happen for the depot on Spruce Street. And they went, yeah, we're gonna get ours in first. I said, okay, you got plans? And they went, no. I said, okay, well, when you got something in writing, come talk to me. So the old coffee cup, they wanna make it a brewery now instead of putting the old coffee cup back, but.
Is Sharon going to put some additional hours in since you're going to be gone?
She'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday like she always is. And I gave a schedule, like I said, to everybody in the building.
Okay.
And all my contractors and any of my large property maintenance places like Faulkner and Hammond Place and all that. They all have known my schedule since Thanksgiving and, planning around it. And that first week I'm back, all the big jobs will get my attention first. And Sharon will be in, like I said, every Tuesday and Thursday. She always is, from 9 to 3:30. And answer phone calls, take messages and whatnot. And if it's life-threatening, she knows she can email me. And if it's life-threatening, her, myself, and Geneseo's code officer and Ocean's code officer are the two in the county that I trust with my life. Said that if it's life-threatening, she can call them and she has their numbers. And if they have to actually step in, if the board wants them to step in and do something in those 2 weeks, it's $20 an hour plus mileage for either of them. But it's 2 weeks. The village went without a code officer for 7 months prior to my hiring, so probably make it the first 2 weeks of January okay. But they're there, and they know, and Sharon's talked to them today, and I talked to them and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Mr. Chief, you're up. Just speaking of snow, usually we try to initiate the warning notices for odd even parking with the first dusting of snow, because that's when people are accepting of such. So be prepared. I don't think we are really in a position to wait for the first dusting, because who knows when that's going to be. So we'll probably start leaving odd even morning notices on folks' cars here probably next 5 to 7 days. And
I think they're predicting this weekend.
oh,
Yeah.
good, maybe timed right. Yeah, but,
Can you give me a call when you do that?
every year?
Don't worry, I get one every year.
Every year that we do it, when there's no snow on the ground, we get the phone call saying, "What are you talking about?" So just heads up, you know, depending on if there's snow on the ground when we start, you will or won't get a phone call saying, "Hey, there's no snow on the ground." But, so we'll start doing that little minor issue at night. I'm gonna go backwards on these two things. The entry-level law enforcement project, I think that was just an FYI for us. I didn't really gain a whole lot of knowledge from that, did you?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking I'm missing something, but
No, I just sort of hope you could tell me what it was all about, to be quite honest.
I know there's been talk over the last, at Western New York Police Chiefs discussions, there's been talk that on a statewide level, they're reevaluating whether the entry-level test for police officers and deputy sheriffs is adequate. So they're spending thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to come to that conclusion as to whether that testing is adequate or not. And we'll see what they come up with. In my opinion, it's adequate for that stage of the game, but that's the stage we're in that. As far as the buzzer, I spoke with Mary Strickland at the county clerk's office. She's the one who's actually in charge of that on the county side of things as far as motor vehicles concerned. So there's a glitch in the system. Once they work that glitch out, which probably will only be a few days, we're going to do a test. And then when we do the test, to get some feelings as to what that system does or doesn't do, then I think we'll come back here and discuss again a couple of options as to whether we want to, if it works well, join that company on our own to do that in a couple of other offices that the village operates, or if we want to do something different because maybe we feel that it could be better. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I'm waiting for them to fix their glitch so that we can test it to know what they've got, and then come back here and talk about whether what they've got is what we want to duplicate or if we want to do something different. It's
So
very
those-
generic.
Those people in the audience don't understand what this is about. Not too long ago, we had an incident in the office in which a gentleman made some threatening comments. I don't know if they were serious. I don't know, what did you get as a feeling from the guy? He was just venting?
Venting.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tends to do
But
that.
in this day and age, we can't take that for granted, and the conversation has been, well, the setup of the office to close that all in sort of takes away, it becomes a blockhouse is what it becomes, which the ladies down there didn't think was necessary. But we still wanted to have something where if there was an individual in the office, they could ring out and get a response. Now, we do have a buzzer in there now, but it goes to a police office where there may not be a police officer at any given moment. So we're trying to look at tying into Livingston County, so if we need somebody in a hurry, they could dispatch an officer. We'll see what happens.
Well, this is years past, we've tried to work this out and it just kind of gets lost and then move on to other important things everybody does, but this time I actually found the person who actually handles it. And so we'll come up with some answers this time, there's no doubt.
There's too much of this foolishness going on these days. Far more than even gets reported, I guess, on TV. But I look at the stats. They say in a couple of years, there've been several hundred of these
They say.
shootings, mass shootings. Heard of a lot, but not that many.
Yeah.
I guess they're counting anyway. You shoot more than one person, it's a mass shooting. I don't know what the number, how they
think
figure
the
it.
cutoff
It
is
said
four.
Four?
Four or more, and since Sandy Hook, there's been 1,044.
So you run into things where, in some of your bigger cities, gang shootings
Yeah.
get counted in that same, even though it has absolutely nothing to do, well, I guess it might have something to do with some people's workplace, depending on what you're selling. But that's taking the term workplace pretty wide.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, there's usually a bunch of bystanders that have nothing to do with it, or ones that are getting hurt, like kids.
Yep.
So other than that,
Okay.
just moving along.
All right.
They did, they did hand out a task force
MOU?
draft, yeah. The term that went with it was 98% ready, so,
Just gotta get one last approval by David Morris.
yeah, so that's where that's at. So, probably another month will be kicking around some form of action, I think. So,
Anybody else have any questions?
In the bills, every month we have a bill for photos through CBS.
yes,
Are we still developing film?
we are.
Are we ever gonna step into the digital age and save ourselves money?
We tossed it around, and matter of fact, we've been tossing it around more this year than in years past. For the longest time, the difficulty I had was that, in my opinion, and I'm hoping that this has gone farther, it seemed like the digital photos we had, or that I saw other people produce, maybe it was the quality of the paper, but particularly on assaults, the reds were more red than in actuality. They weren't completely, in my opinion, what the pictures I had seen taken, they weren't an accurate description, if you will, of what actually took place. So we have kind of gotten in the mode that the 35 millimeters were extremely reliable. I mean, going back here now, I can remember going to a stolen car that was left in the woods, and I'm looking for footprints, and I couldn't visually see a pattern. But uniquely enough, I took a picture with that 35 millimeter, you remember that? You couldn't visually see the foot pattern, but I took a picture with the 35 millimeter and the pattern stood right out. So I was a believer in these things and have held on to that technology definitely for a long time. But we have been discussing this year about trying to grab onto a digital camera and start for a period of time, probably doing both for a short period of time until we see if those pictures are of the quality and don't have too much red in the assault part and do have good pickup. So we have been talking about it. So we'll try to
Should be able to get a good
We'll
resolution.
try to kick that in and try to find, we'll evaluate what some other places have got and see what they've got and how.
I don't think anyone else is still using 35 millimeter.
Probably not. No.
We're always the last of the Mohicans
Yeah.
here, so.
Yeah, I have a hard time breaking away from tried and true. But like I said, you know,
Yeah.
I've had opportunities where the quality of the pictures weren't what I thought they should be, and we picked up some evidence that was invisible otherwise. So I know that 35s work extremely well. They're paid for, they work extremely well. But yeah, this year we were actually talking about several times about.
Because it's usually on a monthly
Making a
basis,
twist.
we see bills from CBS.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
this month I think it was $40-some, but I mean, just,
Yeah, no, I agree.
I just, when I'd seen it, I was like, are we still
Oh, yeah.
developing film?
Absolutely, yeah. We have been talking about flipping over.
Digital also increases the capabilities you have once you got the digitized image. There's so many different things you can do with it. So it all makes good sense.
Okay. We have justice reports.
Okay, moving on to budget, finance, and audit, trustee LeBar.
Click Megan, modifications,
Okay,
this document that you created.
yes. I did put together some budget modifications. Some of them, I know Scott and I talked earlier, some of them on the general side. He'll be able to give his recommendation. I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to look at your email this afternoon. I sent them out pretty late in the day. I just have to get to them. The ones that are highlighted there, that have the gray over them, those are the ones that I wasn't able to make a recommendation for the board. I don't know if you guys want to take a second, anyone who didn't get a chance to look at the email, if you want to take a second to read over them, ask me any questions you have. Under the general fund, there's a typo. The second row is from, not to. You want to switch it to from?
Not that we can't follow your instructions, Megan, we can, but just to make this real quick and very obvious to everybody here, why don't you work down through the ones where budget modifications are need to be addressed. I know you said where's gray here, but
Yep. The first one, and let's see, with these ones, with some of them for the general fund, I think Scott had a couple recommendations. The first one is storm sewer maintenance.
Yep.
And we're looking for a line item that we can take $398.16 from.
We can take that out of A5110.444.
We'll move on to the next one.
Sure.
The next one is parks, $606.11.
And I'll just add, that was for a bill that Pat turned in this month. It was for materials he bought out of the city. He forgot about it, came in. That was for like the coloring and some forms that we bought, things like that. And some concrete sealer, 2 5-gallon pails of concrete sealer. So that's why that bill slipped in that I wasn't aware of. And we'll take that out of the A5110.444.
The next one, I have the labor on there, and that was, I know the board was discussing that, so I'm just going to skip over that one for a second. Catch basin repair is another one that Scott had a recommendation for, and that is $1,256.75.
That will come out of A5110.444. And the reason that the catch basin and the storm sewer maintenance are over is because we allotted that extra $7,000 on Leonard. We said we put some extra money in. And so that's why those are over budget, if you will.
So then you'll see I did have both of the labor line items on there. I'm not sure if the board's going to have further discussion about that tonight or not, but I did put them on there because they're in the negative. Do you guys want to do that, or do you want me to move on to
let's move
water
on for now.
fund? Okay.
Let's move on for now.
All right. Okay. For the next one, it was just a recommendation for engineer services. What we did this year is we did create a line item for just engineer services in the budget because we didn't have that before. We had it, but it was specifically for dam and reservoir repairs. So we ended up funding that one, but we didn't fund the general engineer line item. So what I'm recommending is that we just take all of the budget for the dam reservoir repairs and move that into the general engineer. But what's necessary to fix the negative is $3,051.50. But like I said, I would just assume move it all and just use that line item for any engineering services, even if it is at the dam or reservoir, because they're both engineer codes.
What's your input on that, Scott?
Well, the only issue with that is we do have to finish the rock in the dam. and that's where that money was gonna come out of. So, but we're not gonna do that right now, so we'll have to address that. Like I didn't see the sheet on what those engineer fees were for. Was it for the dam?
No, it was for all different.
Because we
there's-
decided last year not to put it, to fund that line item for engineering service, if you guys remember, during budget.
Yeah,
We just
right.
didn't fund it. So, and we did have some engineering fees throughout the year. So, there's probably $4,000 worth of rock that needs to be placed up there yet to finish that. Mr. Labarge said that I had to have that finished this fiscal year, so. That's on the tape.
Find it.
You can't direct it.
Find it.
You will. But again, that's not a matter of life and death. We can probably hold that off anyway, so. next
Hold off
month.
on acting on that?
Pardon?
Hold off on acting
No.
on that?
On the
On the
rock.
rock.
We could probably wait if we wanted to till next budget. Go ahead and move this money to take care of this now.
Well, what if we just move what's sufficient
Cover it.
to cover it at this point? Megan, how would you feel about that? And
That's fine.
kind of leave what's in there at this point, and then Scott can take a look at it and go from there.
To see what the balance is and then know what he needs,
Right.
Yeah,
or know what he has to work within.
either way. Either way.
Not a lot of wiggle room.
Either way.
Okay,
Okay.
so, yep, we'll do exactly that. The next one you guys can see, again, this is just a recommendation for, we have 2 telephone line items in the budget. I code to just one of them for water. For general, it's all over the place, but for water, I code to just one of them. So I'd just like to move all of the funds into the one line item. They're both for administrative purposes. The one is the phone line and internet at the plant, and the other one is the phone line in the clerk's office. So it's all administrative.
That's the water and sewer clerks line.
And then the next one is one that I did not put a recommendation. I did attach ledgers behind your budget modifications here for the current year and then 2 years previous. Just showing what expenses came out of that line item. It's pretty varied. The reason that it's going over is because I'm trying to, through conversations, I'm trying to code more to the water and sewer funds rather than putting it all in the general fund.
Trying to be more equal.
So that it's more equal. Just because we've had conversations that we're trying to do that. So that's the reason for that. You can look at the ledgers and just kind of see, how the expenses have increased, and what the different items are that we've added. And I don't know if in the future we want to have more specific line items rather than miscellaneous, but that's just what I had to work with in the budget this year, so. I don't know if there's any recommendations on where we take that from. It's $338.99.
You could probably take it from.
But that'll grow. That'll grow. But,
How much is it gonna grow? Any idea?
possibly.
Depends on how much we water it.
Popping them things.
It's popular with the leg for good.
I love
I've been watching.
I love hard candy.
Every time an issue comes up, you pop another one. It's like nitro.
Something special in those?
I love Tic Tacs.
Recently, the whole box, those ones, the fruit ones, they're good.
Probably less than $300, Scott. Should be less.
But it would be easier to do this budget mod than at the end of the year rather than trying to move that back out of somewheres. Do like what you have now and then figure the rest out later?
Yeah, we could just do budget modifications as we go. Every time every month when we put the bills in, I print a summary so I know if it's gonna go into the negative, and I can just bring that modification to the board.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, this 380, 338 is something that's built since the budget started, right? It's gone to that point. So we could probably do it every 3-4 months and just catch it back up, right? Or no?
We are not supposed to
Okay.
do it that way.
Then I think you should just increase that by the $300 so we don't have to do it every month.
Okay,
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, if we have to move, if there's $28 left and we gotta move it out, then we'll move it back to wherever it came from or whatever, but rather than doing a budget mod every month and going, hey, remember this is our,
Yeah.
I think if we find a line item we can just take an even 600 from, that should be fine. You know, as long as there's, you know, there are a couple things, like with Hurricane Technologies in here, and hopefully we'll be set with them for a little bit, so.
Scott, did you have an idea where that was gonna come from?
I did at 3, but now you're at 6.
I was just saying, we was waiting for it to grow. That's the kicker.
And I don't have the latest and greatest here, I don't have this. Probably we could take it out of F8320.420.
The next one, I'm not sure how many of you had an opportunity to come in and look at the bills. Whether you're familiar with this or not, the mayor and Dickelbar and I were able to have conversations about it. Retirement. We have a great report available to us this year through the Office of the State Comptroller that allows us to figure out the payments based on employee. And we've never had that before. So I made up a spreadsheet, it's attached to the bills. I have it in front of me here, I'd be happy to hand it out. But when we set the budget based on the way that we had always done calculations in the past, because we didn't have this report. So it's a really good report for future use, but you see the bind that it's put us in for this year, and that's, you'll see that both for water and sewer. General, we came in under budget. So for water, we are looking for $16,935.65. Did you guys want me to pass the report around so you can see it, or?
Megan, my question is, just because the state comptroller's office came out with this report, we didn't have this last year when we did the budget.
Correct.
Are we bound by this new report? Do we have to make the changes? I mean, we've done this in the past for, as long as I've done it, the way that we calculated it.
Mm-hmm.
Now they come out with a new way to figure it. Do we have to comply with that? That's my question. I don't know.
I don't know. I would think it would be up to the board.
Well, not having looked at it in any great detail, when the state says this is what you owe, that's what you owe.
Is that what the state is saying? Is this what you owe?
I don't know.
They don't break it out by fund. They give you a total amount, but we now have a report that's by employee.
So you know which employee's working where, so you know which.
Exactly.
So where it might have
And
been-
depending
where it
on
would
what
have
their
you in the
wages
general.
are and what tier they are, plays into that. Where prior to having this report, what we did is we just took the balance owed, divided by the number of employees that we had, and then we just got an average number and just said, okay, well, this number is tagged to each employee, and then we would just times that by however many employees was in each fund.
And
Does
you'd
that
think
make sense?
eventually that would go down, because as we lose our older employees and they drop from a tier 2 to a tier 5 or tier 4 or whatever, you'd think that number would go down and not up, because, man, that would always be wishful thinking.
In the
'Cause you pay
future, yeah,
per employee certain percentage.
It's always a year after too. They, if I understand correctly, our retirement costs, the retirement costs we have this year are based on last year's employees. So you might lose, if you lose an employee this year, it won't show up until next year's, if I'm correct on that. It's always a year behind.
Well, since we're looking at significant amounts that affect two accounts that are running a tight ship right now, my suggestion would be for Scott, myself, and Mayor to get together to take a closer look at it, other
agree
than
with that.
trying to address it this evening.
I agree.
I don't have any quick answers for it.
Yep.
I'm not sure if we spent an hour on it, we could answer, or address it at tonight's meeting.
Okay. All right. You agree to that?
How does that sound, Scott?
Pardon?
You in agreement?
I'm in agreement.
And I would say that would also apply to the labor situation. Let us put our heads together and maybe come back with a recommendation to the board. Does that sound good, Mayor?
Yeah.
Like that idea.
Okay.
okay, so we're gonna move on to sewer. We'll leave the retirement one alone so you guys can address that.
Yep.
But above that is like identical to the water with the administration miscellaneous. Same deal, just splitting some more of the costs with water and sewer that we hadn't done before. So that's $546.76.
Is that also going to grow?
Yeah, that's gonna grow. Would we decide to add $200 to it?
So we probably ought to be looking at 800 in total, maybe. That'd be 250 plus.
750 we could do.
750 you could do?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Scott.
G8120.400.
And then I would just ask, I guess, that if the board is comfortable with all of that, if we could approve these tonight minus the retirement and labor line items.
If there are no objections, I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll second that motion.
Who's the first? Who made the first?
You did.
You did.
No, I said I will
You
entertain
Oh,
a
entertain.
motion to that effect.
Okay, I will move to entertain, no.
To entertain me, right? Okay.
I'm the internet.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion from trustee Labar. Second, please. I'll jump here at one time.
We won't.
Pardon?
I said we won't.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
I'll second it.
All right,
Scott,
there you go. You owe me.
Oh, that's right.
Second from trustee Humphrey. Discussion.
After this month, can we get an updated budget as to where we're at, percentage-wise, once these are all done, I'd like to see, the next month we get something that shows where it's all calculated at. Remember how we went over it a couple months back?
You
You just want a budget, not a report.
A new budget with a, where we're at
What's remaining,
at this
where-
point.
Yeah.
your expenditures report?
Yes.
Yeah, once I update these, I can send you out a
Yeah.
new November
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Something just brings us up to date so that when we're looking at the budget item, when we pay all these bills and everything, we get to the next thing, we know kind of like, okay, here's where we're at. I know a couple months ago we had the one where you were saying, well, we're at 80%, so let's keep an eye on that,
Yeah, you guys
Sometime-
look at that every month.
Sometimes I have those conversations outside of this meeting, but I do that every month to make people aware of any line items that are, reaching a point where they need some additional attention. But I continue to do that on a monthly basis, yeah. The answer to your question is yes.
Any further discussion? Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you.
I mean, I have that for this month. I've done it. I sat down with Megan for about an hour and I talked to a couple other people, but the intent is typically, when we have that information, to share it with the rest of the board, and sometimes it's just a timing issue. But I've also thought that perhaps because typically there aren't a lot of line items, but maybe just sending out an email because of a timing issue to make you aware and make the department heads aware of what they ought to pay some attention to. I could do that. I thought about doing that because of the timing issue.
Okay. We all done then on modifications?
We are done with budget modifications. If you don't mind, I'll just throw in real quick that I put updated projections for water and sewer in your folders, so just keep that in mind when you're looking at the budget modifications.
Oh.
Also, you'll see in the folder, Megan put in an updated list of modifications that have been made in this fiscal year to date per conversations we had. Because oftentimes, when you're 2, 3, 4 months out, you start to lose track of what modifications have been made. So that's going to be a good document that's going to, for reference. Megan's going to make that available, at least following whenever we take action on modifications. Okay, under special billing, wastewater treatment plant capital project with composting, Bernard Donegan, Financial Management Services, $858.03. MRB Group Engineering Services, $27,999.64. Nothing under the housing rehab grant. Under bills, general, we paid checks number 15036 through 15047 in the amount of $88,627.21. We audited checks in the amount of $119,532.27. Under water, we paid checks number 707 through 713 in the amount of $83,360.99. We audited checks in the amount of $445,755.07. And under the sewer, we paid checks number 634 through 640 in the amount of $48,516.75. And we also audited checks in the amount of $52,350.61. Motion to approve payment.
And a motion by trustee Labar to approve payment on special billings and the billings themselves for general water and sewer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Whitenack. Discussion? Okay, trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you.
Under serial bond payments due, January 1st, 2016, EFC for water plant, $335 principal, $35,308.48 interest from the water fund. January 11th, 2016, road development for hook and ladder truck, $4,156, interest from general fund. Under MedX billing account payments, Livingston County EMS, December payment, $2,475. Commission owed CBCS, $552.78. MedX invoice 2015 through invoice 2015-12, $1,092. Village of Dansville, November payment, $7,073.98. And Dansville Ambulance, November payment, $10,610.96. Movement to make payment.
And motion from trustee LeBar to make payment on the serial bonds and the MedX billing account payments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Rittenhouse. Discussion? Okay, trustee Whitenack.
Aye.
Trustee LeBar.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Mayor's an aye. Okay. And I have a present for all of you. I love it. No action required tonight. And I'll just pass that one down. This afternoon, not long after Mrs. Aldrich brought the other issues of the modifications to my attention, she no sooner left my office and I got this. It's the subject is this is from NICOM for the public's information. Allowable levy growth factor for local governments with a June 1 fiscal year. That's us. Okay, everybody knows that they set the tax levy or tax cap, I should say, at 2%. This past year it was what, 1.6 something or another. This coming year it's going to be 0.12% growth. Now, as you recall, we were already over last year without raising taxes. And that's going to get subtracted this year, whatever flexibility we had, and get stuck with this.
There is no growth.
There is none.
Only more bills and more mandates by the state.
Yep, as you saw the calculations on the retirement a minute ago.
Health insurance.
Health insurance went up.
Insurance, yeah.
All the stuff was going up,
But yeah,
but there's no room for us to go up, except, and I'll make my push once again, we override the tax cap.
you almost have to override the tax cap just for what you take in
Yeah?
through assessments.
Yep.
Without even raising the tax.
Yeah, we can keep the thing flat, that's
You
not a
keep the tax
problem.
rate flat and we still get in trouble.
Which we've done now since 2008.
Yeah,
Well,
No, in 2008 it was lowered.
lowered 50-some cents.
50 cents.
50
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah, and now that's good.
And we're
Since
still
then,
gonna be-
the state at $12.99.
How do you win?
You don't.
You don't. You sit here and you just,
And the price of everything continues to go up.
so again, when you discuss
Declare bankruptcy.
the removal of the tax cap, as you were saying, that could be just to make sure that when our assessments went up, we can utilize that money. Because right now we were over by what, $1,000, was it?
Yeah.
Sets into an account that you can't touch. And again, taxes have not gone up. They've stayed steady or decreased 7 years ago, and the state still says, well, you can't do anything.
Darned if you do and darned if you don't.
But I'm sure they're going to want to add some more stuff to us this year and say, hey, take care of this.
The state doesn't want to be the bad entity in all this,
No.
yet they hold all the cards. And they know there's only so long we can function at a steady state without raising the taxes. And we look to be the bad people, but yet, we're boxed in a corner. we've been functioning here for over 7 years, maintaining, what we currently ask for a tax rate with increasing expenses every year. I mean, just for the people here, starting in 2016, we're going to be paying $20,000+ more in healthcare, healthcare alone, just healthcare.
It was
So
30,000.
you're paying individually, we're paying as a village also, $20,000+ for an
Yeah, it was
employee.
30,000.
That's 1 year. 1 year,
It went up.
yep, 1 year. We're up about 23% in a 2-year period,
Right.
what we're paying for healthcare.
So the only thing you can do is cut your services. And as soon as you do that, then everyone wants to know, what are you doing?
Or you can raise the taxes, and they're gonna say, what are you doing?
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, people aren't gonna be happy.
You can't win.
Talk about being unrealistic, and setting the tax cap, and then you come up with something like this.
Well, I do have a bit of good news.
Please, why wouldn't you give it that first?
I want to end on a more positive note.
Then go quick. My nitro running out.
This concerns the Water Quality Improvement Project, number 52314. If that tells you anything, anyways, it's the wastewater disinfection project. We've been awarded $532,950 to the Water Quality Improvement Project program. How's that sound?
What's that mean?
Well, that's
Where can
everything.
you
That's
use
that 85% we were looking for.
For the UV,
If they give us the whole 500 and what? 80?
for the UV?
Yeah, for the
No,
UV.
right.
Yeah,
For the-
yeah, disinfection.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
So
85% towards the cost.
they said we got it, so I guess
That is
there it is.
Yeah.
We don't have to cross our fingers on that one. Well, we probably still haven't got it in our pockets.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
And that's good news.
one hand puts it in, the other hand's going to take it out.
And they're getting it back. But either
Oh,
way,
yeah.
that's huge to us, so.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna force us to do it whether they give us the money or not.
Yep. So, one positive anyway.
You got any more?
Well, I'm looking.
Keep digging, please.
Yeah. No, that's it for now. Goodness gracious. I didn't think that sore throat was a good deal.
Better than big guy.
When I saw that .12. Whoa, where'd that 2% go? Okay. Public Works, Water and Sewer, Trustee Humphrey.
The water and sewer law rewrite, however you want it, whatever you want to call it. To rewrite the water sewer law. We met a couple weeks ago, and the meeting prior to that, we decided that because it's so complicated as far as upgrading and what is code and what isn't, that's beyond our scope. So we asked Bill Davis from MRB to come down. He talked with us. I didn't make the committee meeting, but I see that in unfinished business, he came up with a bill, I'm assuming $14,800. I think that's, we can talk about that for the unfinished business, because I wasn't at that meeting.
Yeah.
Scott can talk more about that, I guess. But I think it's something that we should consider. It's too complicated. And they've got a couple, he's done Farmington, Avon, and so they've got somewhat of a template to go by.
Yep.
But we can talk about that with the unfinished business. Okay, Scott, I guess you're up.
The creek project, the water filtration plant, just for your information, Robin, there's a water line in the creek up there that's been exposed by erosion. So with the nice weather and everything, we decided that be a good time to take care of that, because it is eroding pretty bad. So it would take around $5,000 worth of materials to do that, some pipe, things like that. I think, Pete, did you get a chance to go up?
Yeah, I did.
So you saw it.
Wasn't where I thought it was, but I found it. Actually, Matt was behind me and said, "What are you up here for?" So I'm trying to find the pipe. He said, "You went past it."
So the last couple of days, we've been prepping for that. So if you guys voted in, then we'll go ahead and finish it. The last few days, we've been removing trees and getting it ready. It's got to be done sooner or later, because that's a main feed into the village, and it scares me the way it looks right there.
Do we have to do it tonight?
So,
How much?
I'm sorry, any other questions on that?
That's the one up behind by the moose?
No.
This is at the plant.
Oh, okay, way up, okay.
That also needs to be addressed.
When you first go into the area up there, and it's, you got that one tank, and a couple little houses off to the right.
Uh-huh,
You go over a little culvert, and it's just downstream from the
Okay.
culvert.
okay.
Actually, if you're staying on a culvert, you don't really notice it, because it's covered up on one side with a big slab of rock,
Okay.
big shale, looks
It's
like.
concrete.
Is that concrete?
They put that there to protect it. That's where the stream used to run.
Yeah.
Then the erosion started on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what
Where's the
happened.
road?
Move the creek a little bit.
And then we found, once I located the electric lines, they're right on the other end of the pipe, right at the end of the pipe. So it's gonna be really tight to get just the 60 feet in, cover the conduits, and get it far enough down the stream. I think we can do that. I really don't wanna buy another length of pipe for $1,000 a lane. So, we'll make it work one way or the other.
Don't really have that under any kind of business unless you want to put it under new business right now, and then, or we could vote on it where it is, doesn't matter. It's really, what you're saying, right around 5,000? So it's right there on the cusp of the cost
And that's
threshold.
something that you have in your budget that's not gonna be affected with our budget modifications that we were just looking at.
Well, we said we'd have to do a budget modification, so if we wanna do that tonight, we could, but we just do
No, I'm
it.
just saying, there's gonna be enough in the budget to take care of that, and yet it's not gonna affect the other things that we were talking about earlier, right?
No. And it's a serious issue. I mean, some way, somehow, it has to be addressed. But it was a mess up there. It's been let go for a long time. I don't know if you noticed the trees being,
Well, I walked down in there and I snagged my sweater on those thorns and that through there. That's, ought to be cleaned up and exposed so you can get to it easily.
it's exposed now.
Okay.
So was me for a minute. Sorry.
I move to approve it, only for the fact that if we keep prolonging it, why,
Getting cheaper.
and as long as the weather is with us right now, we might better take advantage of it now.
And the pipe's as cheap as it's ever been because of the oil prices are down, so
Yeah.
that's another, it was $70 a foot, now it's down to 51. So.
Yeah, motion from trustee Whitenack to approve fixing that area around the pipe up there, protecting it.
That being a water pipe, would that come out of the water fund?
Right. That's all water, town water property,
Yeah.
water line.
That's the one, is that the main one that goes down Health Street?
Yep. That's a 12-inch, 10 or 12, it might be 10. It goes down Highland a little ways and it drops down to
That's the
8
Met Highland.
and then continues on to the village. Yeah, there's just two feeds, that one and the one you see by Moose that's exposed. It definitely needs to have something done with that.
I'm gonna walk across the street with you more tickets,
No, I'm good.
because you're like far out.
Maybe I'll make it. List is
Okay,
getting short.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, second from trustee Rittenhouse. Discussion? Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you.
The next item is a letter. Do you have that letter, Pete? Did you discuss that?
Yeah, I probably do.
What I have is the copy. Karen, I think, has the original.
I didn't see one in our folder, a copy of it.
No, you probably didn't, because that was something I got when I first got back last week and never got a chance to make copies for everybody.
I'll quit looking for it then.
Give me more time to eat your Tic Tacs.
Yep. These things are great. At Walmart, you can get them in a real big package.
My 5-year-old son eats them like you are.
I love them. I just stop eating.
Essentially, there's what it says here is to whom it may concern. I'm trying to get my count caught up. I am scheduled for water shut-off, which would also affect my home heating. So she must have baseboard heating. If you could please give me more time to get my bill paid, I would greatly appreciate it. And signed so-and-so. And apparently there's a balance due of $700.51.
Is that one billing period or two?
That, I believe, is several, because she paid on some of that already. That would actually be the end of the second billing period, wouldn't it?
If he's on the shut-off, it's 2.
Yeah.
Did the person say what kind of payment arrangements they were looking at, they would like to see?
Well, I say she paid $100 on the 10th. I don't know if that's a I don't even know what kind of work she does, or if she's gainfully employed or anything full-time.
So she's made one payment over the last 6 months, because this is the second thing. I mean,
Second billing period.
second billing period, and the billing period is for 3 months.
Yep. It was up to 851, now it's down to 751. So,
I mean, I get it, I understand it, it's just, I always sympathize with people, but, I mean, one payment over 6 months, I mean, we talked to someone could come in and do the 3 payments over the 3 months, but 1 over 6 is always tough. And I know it's a hard time of the year, and, you know, winter's around the corner and everything, but as we see with doing budget modifications and everything, that money is very important to keep the budgets where they gotta be, and
yeah. The other thing,
does it say in there anything about how they want to pay it?
No.
Because when's the next billing cycle come out?
January.
January.
January. It's
Yeah.
Almost there. Almost there.
Oh. And she has been referred to other agencies that in the past have taken care of people on their water and sewer bills. But from what I have been told, she didn't seem too interested in pursuing them because she said they wouldn't help her. But she hadn't tried them yet, so you can't forgive stuff.
It's against the law.
Yep.
And as soon as you say, well.
Fair
one
for
person
one's got to be
doesn't-
fair for all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right back where you were
Yeah,
Yep.
before.
worse, because there's another billing cycle coming. Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I'm not.
Which, if you take this goes back into summer.
Yeah.
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 You know, I'm talking June, July, August, September, October, November, December, here we are.
I don't know if she's, if something to be worked out with Karen, so she's trying to stay ahead, but, I mean, you can work out something, but she'd have to be,
It's whatever Karen works out that she works out with
it would
everyone
have to
else.
be, going forward, it would have to be
It's-
kept
it's
up
whatever-
to date.
I think it's whatever Karen works out with everyone else, whatever that
Yeah.
payment schedule is.
Absolutely.
That this person's gonna have to adhere to that, otherwise it's a shut off.
But I think the payment schedule is you pay your bill over 3 months, and it's supposed to be paid by the time the next billing cycle comes out.
Right.
And that's how it's gotta be.
Because that just adds more to the next billing cycle and more to the next billing cycle. And I understand it, I get it. I mean,
Absolutely.
I cringe when I got my bill in the mail, and I cringe when you send it out. I get it. I don't want to pay it any more than anyone else, and ours, just because we sit on the board, doesn't, we still get ours.
Yeah.
And it chokes you. I said it in the meeting when we were downstairs, I choke every time I see it, and I choke when I pay it. But when you turn the water off, it does become a third world country. You gotta have water and sewer.
Okay. Work this one out with Karen. No problem.
And I just don't see, we haven't been able to relieve anyone else of their stuff.
I am not, but
And as soon as you start, that desk you won't be able to see. Because there'll be a big flood of paper. One that says from Dan.
And that doesn't make it any easier for Karen.
No.
okay,
Okay.
moving right along.
Let's see.
Where we at now?
Short-term financing conversion.
Yeah, what was that about?
Um,
That was an email I got.
well, I think basically the update on that was that we were just gonna convert to the long-term financing in November
This coming year.
2016 versus February,
Yep,
if I remember correctly.
that is.
Okay.
Megan, you mentioned that we had to make the 505 payment again.
If we wanted to get on an April billing cycle versus a November billing cycle, and it would have to be in this budget year.
So if we go to
We
next
would-
November, then we'll be to whatever the payment is.
We can just keep our payment cycle the way that it is, so it'll be every November.
Yeah,
And the question was brought up, could we make it an April cycle? Like some of the rest of them, so I was just
So we had
explaining,
the money?
that was the
Yeah.
only way that we could do that, was if we made a
right
double
now our
payment.
budget is so tight, I don't see how we can do it.
No.
Right.
We have problems as this.
Well, just put that in perspective, because it was $1 million.
I know.
Just a few years ago, so imagine trying to tack another $500,000 onto our budget right now. That's where we were.
I'm with you.
People lose the track of that. I mean, that's how far we've come. We'd be sunk. Look at, people can't pay their bills now, tack another $500,000 on. Brutal.
And divide that up by 2,400
Yep.
bills that go out.
Did you get any more information on the pipe filling equipment?
Yes, I did. It's $2,831. It's $2,580 and $250 for shipping.
Now, do we
And
have?
there are a couple other spots that I can call. I might be able to shave that down. This was just the one guy that I got the price from. So it was a couple hundred.
What was that price, 2831?
$2,831.
Do you have in your budget line, because last year we spent $4,000 on thawing pipes, do you have in a budget line item somewhere where if we didn't buy this equipment, we'd have to come up with the $4,000 to thaw this equipment? Because let's face it, it's gonna freeze.
It's going to come out of the budget, yes. I mean,
But do you have like a line item where you would
we
take
don't
that
have a
out?
thawing line item.
No, but where that would come out of?
Equipment or something?
Would it come out
Yeah,
of?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh yeah. You mean to pay for this here?
Yes,
Yeah, we would take it out of the.
because inevitably it's gonna freeze and we're gonna be thawing. It does every year, even though it'll be later this year, it's still gonna thaw deep into probably June now.
Come on, now, wait.
Oh, this is doom and gloom then.
Anybody want some Tic Tacs?
He's going into withdrawal.
Well, what I'm saying is if anyone doesn't understand, we spent $4,000 last year out of our budget to thaw pipes. There's Scott has found what we would rent to do it for $2,831. So if we buy it, the first year, if we use it, we're gonna save $1,200 right up front. And then next year, it wouldn't be anything out of our budget. So it's, even though it looks like we're buying more equipment, in the first year, if we have any sort of a winter like we had last year, we're gonna save money.
Well, also, we talked about shared services with that particular item with other villages.
Yeah.
So, and they would be the same thing, that would, if they have pieces of equipment that we could use.
Yeah. Right.
So if we run down to Mount Morris and thaw a pipe for them in the spring, if we needed a roller, we might be able to get that for a day. You know, there's other things, shared services, but as soon as things freeze, we're already, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we're already at the plus then.
Yeah, and if you wait till it freezes, you won't get one, because that's what happened.
Right, that's exactly right, yep.
Yes, I have money to purchase that, Andy. Last year I took it just out, I have a miscellaneous line in the water, that's where I took it out of last year. So there's money in that line item.
And we discussed this before this discussion was coming up even before I was a trustee, and I'd like to move to make that purchase, to have that on hand, so that when we need it, we can use it.
That's a motion on your part?
Yes,
Okay, a motion by trustee Rittenhouse.
thank
to
you.
Purchase the... Hey, I'm on drugs too.
This is a little more powerful.
Prescribed. That's okay, we're just up here and have a good old time. Purchase the pipe thawing equipment. You're gonna get some other numbers though, preferably something a little cheaper.
And
It
not to
won't be
go,
much.
Yeah, if you can.
Oh, I definitely will have to get two anyway.
yeah, not to go over 2831, because that's what we
Yep.
have now.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
If we get it cheaper, we'll get it cheaper.
We have a second.
Second.
Second from trustee Whitenack. Discussion. Okay, trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Labar.
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you. And is there anything else from the water and sewer side of the house tonight? Is that enough? Hey, streets. Trustee Rittenhouse.
We don't have to plow them. Yet. Scott?
There's really, yeah, the boys are, I pulled them off brush here, they just about had the village done, but tomorrow, finish the brush up, so hopefully that's finished for another month. Potholes, pretty much it on the street side right now. We've been working at the wastewater plant, cleaning that up, getting that, so it looks halfway decent with this nice weather. And again, working up in the plants. It's pretty much taking everybody's time. Tomorrow, 3 of the guys are gonna go down and take the civil service test for the water plants, the operators. So, there's 3 guys, there was 4, but 1 backed out, so. Plus. That's pretty much it on street side.
I
Keep it under wraps.
Did we get an update on the wastewater treatment plant and composting, as we typically got out MRB? We haven't seen that.
Numbers?
Yep.
I asked, did you get an update, Megan? From lately? Did you receive one?
Yeah, I can email something out.
Okay.
Yep.
I received a email today from the Department of Transportation out of Rochester, Jefferson Road, concerning emergency assistance in the absence of the governor's emergency declaration. So for services or materials that are valued at less than $10,000, New York State Comptroller rules allowed New York or NISDOT to trade services utilizing a simple one-page agreement. Basically a shared services agreement. Are you familiar with it? I put a copy of this in your box.
I haven't got it yet, so.
Okay, well, you might want to take a look at it and see if it's worth anything for us.
That's just for emergencies? Or
That's what it's talking about. If we have anything, anything happens and we need something that's under $10,000 in value.
Is that a state declared emergency or just us?
No, this is in the absence of a state.
Oh, in the absence, okay.
Yeah. So if we did have something like a culvert that washed out, maybe, I don't know. To trade services, so I don't know what we got that the state doesn't already have, but other than manpower. Take a look at it. There's a copy of an agreement in there as well. If you think it's worth something, let me know. Of course, they want it back by the 23rd of this month, which is next week.
Is
and
that
that's-
something that we should have our lawyer look at to see if we're entered into an agreement with the state? If they can mandate, come in and be like, hey, we want you guys to help us, you know what I'm saying? I'm more worried about,
Them picking.
we'd
and
love to have
choosing.
help from them, but when they come in,
Yeah, there's always,
there's always a return on that.
Or are they gonna
Yeah.
pick and choose what work they do,
yeah.
you know?
Take a look. If it sounds interesting, fine. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. If there's something to move forward with, then we can run it over to John and then get back with the board. But say this, I'm not losing any sleep.
It's
over
just
it.
weird how
They
they
wait
would
till
send
the
that
last
out to
minute.
let it, till the last second always,
Yeah,
them type of things always make me,
yeah,
think
it's
twice.
like,
Well,
here's your chance, one time in
I wonder if that
your
would be anything
lifetime to
like,
get it.
let's say something to do with like how the Buffalo had the big, you know, the big storm last year where they got all that snow. You know, if they had, you know, they wanted that so they come in and help us clear our streets, that would be great. But I don't know.
We
But
don't.
that's a declaration. They're going to
Yeah.
declare that as an emergency, so we don't need to.
Yeah. I don't know there's really ever been an instance where we've needed state help, other than the
We've
FEMA
asked,
stuff that we got.
we've asked for it on different occasions from the DOT, and they didn't have time for us.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna pick and choose what jobs. Well,
Yeah.
we don't have time, we can't help you there. And then it's only a year. You have to have them do whatever in kind within a year,
Mhm.
or it's no good.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't want to wait for us to get around to helping them. They say, well, we did this sometime last winter for you now. You can get out here and do this for us this summer. And we need it done yesterday.
Right.
When we're in the middle of fixing some major issue here in this village. Anyway, take a look at it. I'm not losing sleep over it, just thought I'd pass it along. Okay. There's nothing else. Parks and Recreation. The only thing I have is Thursday night, we got another meeting. I know you're probably tied up with girls' basketball, is it?
Yes, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But how did the first meeting go? You had a
We had, besides myself, there's 4 of us here. So it wasn't too bad. I got a whole bunch of stuff for them this time around that they can, which will probably be what we'll spend most of the night just going over and getting, again, some focus and starting to take a look at Main Street downtown. That's probably the easiest thing we can address right away. Try to get some focus on that. There's different approaches. Some of them have it from a recreational point, others a beautification point of view. So it could end up being maybe a committee of a couple subcommittees, I don't know. Or we end up having 2 committees.
if your next meeting, if you make it even on Monday night, would be perfect,
Let's see if we can change it around. I know they
if
were-
possible.
Wednesday night would seem to be a no-go for most of them. I think you'd say Wednesday was, you were open on Wednesday, but see a Monday night, see what we can work out. Excuse me. Okay. Technology, I know this group that was looking at solar power here, I attended the first meeting, so did Scott. It sounded interesting. I'm actually going to take advantage of it, the program, to see if we can get somebody to go out and do an evaluation of what it would cost to put a system up on my property, or up on my house. The way this works is, what they were looking for were people in different communities, and when they say community, they're not just talking, say, Dan, so it could be the school district, it can include maybe Wayland, Cohocton, Springwater, where you get together and you publicize meetings that these people will be coming in and basically promoting the projects. Yeah. Well, it is. It's done through Cornell Cooperative Extension. They've got 3 vetted firms that will do the work, so that's all been authorized by the state. The problem with it is, right now the program runs out at the end of March, so they're sort of in a rush to get this going. They aren't sure if the feds and state are going to continue on with it. The idea behind it is because our infrastructure, particularly in New York State, is so old, it's cheaper to have people set up their own systems and feed into the grid than it is to do a complete, strictly a grid change. And they would reduce the cost of bringing the grid itself up to date. They gave a couple of examples. I think one was this around a 30,000 kilowatt system with the different, what do you call those, credits, tax credits you get on it. You take the cost of the system from, say, 27,000 down to about 8,000, I think it was. Does that sound about right? Doing this off the top of my head, so it makes it more affordable. I got some questions, but I'd like to see what I can get on my house and stuff like that. Might be the time to do it. They don't expect the cost to go down much more at this point.
Maybe Megan could put that on the internet, just get it out there. Maybe
Well, they had a meeting here on the 10th of this month. I think it was the 10th, last week, but, yeah, it was last Thursday. But I was tied up. In fact, every date that they threw out there, I had something going on.
Why not?
Well, one's tonight. One was the 10th, and I forgot what the other one was. So that, but I guess I'm not gonna get involved in that. But hopefully they'll provide more information, have some of these meetings. They bring in the experts to talk to you about it. You can go online too, and there's a website you can go to and set up your own appointment with one of the contractors, come out and do a free assessment. We'll see what that does. You don't have to have direct sunlight, but it's better, the more you have, the more efficient the system runs, that's all.
Yeah, I know someone at work that just put them on their house, and a regular electric bill of $100 went down to $20, but I think $17 is to be hooked up
Yeah.
to the system. So he said, he's paying pretty much nothing, and now he'll pay on the loan with it. And he said in 7 years it'll transfer over. Then his savings will really start. So what he's saving on the electric, he's now putting into the loan for what he had to pay for. But the payout will be down the road.
You need
And it's a
Southwest
20-year
exposure.
guarantee on the system, but they say the system will last 40, 50 years. It'll just start,
Producing less.
it'll produce less, but it'll be insignificant. Anyway,
You need good Southwest exposure, and our zoning law says it can't be on the front of your house.
yeah. Didn't need it. And it's all on the back.
Our zoning law? This board wants to rewrite it.
Okay. Let's see now, moving on to the next item, we have village video. The guy has not gotten back to me yet on that one, so we're not gonna worry about it. He either ran into a snag or he's got so much business he's not worrying about us. Okay, under unfinished business, wastewater treatment plant change order. General contractor 04 regarding UV disinfection facility. We already, I think, agreed to this, that we would have the Calgon carbon system. It would be through the general contractor on the plant,
Right.
Rusty and Company, Crane Hogan. I just need to have approval, go ahead and, this is good stuff here, this paperwork. Anybody want to read it? Nick, you got-
We have 3 left. Space them
Going
out.
slow.
Space them out, you'll be good.
suck the life out of those suckers.
That's right, if you tip over, we still have enough for me.
Starting to shake.
So if I could have your authorization to go ahead and approve Calgon Carbon and paperwork here, I'll get this back to MRB so that they can get going on the work, I guess. Whatever it is they got to do, mobilizing. This is for the UV system, which we just got that grant for.
Yeah. Handwriting's on the wall.
Motion.
Yeah, motion by trustee Rittenhouse, a second please.
Second.
Second by trustee Humphrey. Discussion? Hearing any. Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
And Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much. All right. Now behave. What do I do with the rest of it? I need more paper on this desk. Now, next item is the whether or not we want to go forward with having MRB rewrite the water and sewer laws for the village of Danville at a cost of $14,800. If any of you have ever looked at our water sewer laws, and I mean just a cursory look, thinking you know what they're all about, those are way outdated compared to what is required these days in the water and sewer laws. In fact, the sewer law can be quite thick. It's not just about, you know, how you pay, it's what you do with the whole system. So it's somewhat of a challenge for the committee. I understand that.
Pete, the other thing is when, and again, I don't know how much Scott got in detail with the committee last week's meeting, but some of the stuff that, I didn't bring my notes with me, was some of the stuff that Bill Davis was talking about, not only updating the systems, but also the village, if we're responsible, was it overflow, or what was the?
There's a lot of things, but like the big one right now would be LMC.
So if LMC dumped whatever pollutants, and it came through, once it comes through our facility, and there's no stop gaps in between, we're held liable for that. And that could be tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when he mentioned that,
Went into panic mode, huh? A little
you know,
stress.
it's like, I needed a case of those things.
They work.
God, that's it.
He's on his own now. So, you know, and there was so much more federal guidelines, it was just too much.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it, and he said that, I don't know if that's still the case, guys, I didn't see or talk to anybody since then, but Bill was thinking about, we could do the water, and incorporate it and do the water for free.
Mhm.
If that's
Yep.
still the
He
case.
mentioned that.
He was pretty close, he said $10,000 to $12,000, and we came up with 14,800. I don't know.
That's because they slid the water in there.
It's free, so really it's not free. Yeah, I see. Oh, I catch that.
They're not losing money.
And I know we wanted to do that sooner than later. He said it would only take roughly, what was it, 3 to 4 months?
And right now, we are gonna be in a time crunch to get it done for LMC, if we wanna take their water.
I know we got some time factor in this.
And I talked to those guys the other day, and I told them, you know, that we were updating our sewer use laws, but their engineer needs to get with our engineer, because there's a lot to be hammered out, so.
Yeah.
They want to go in the spring, I don't see that happening, I think summer maybe, time everything is taken care of, but we'll see.
And it'll dictate also for future development down the road.
Certainly got the capacity.
You know, what the guidelines have to be in their flow meters, and the only thing is where that money's coming from if the board decides to go that route.
The money, actually, Bill just sent me a text, I won't read what he said, because it's, but he basically dropped the ball, he was supposed to find out if we could run that through the plant.
I was gonna ask that.
And so I don't have that answer, so I would say we voted on tonight, whether, as long as we can run it through the plant, goes forward if we can, come back and discuss it again.
Do we have a formal proposal on that?
We were
Right up.
supposed to have. We do not have it, no.
And he was gonna write it up,
But just to save time, again, we can we can approve it tonight, we'll get the formal proposal from MRB and an answer from ES.
Now, the other thing is, Scott, didn't he say that some of that could come out of the grant money?
The whole thing, that's what,
Oh, the
yeah,
whole
that's
thing.
what.
Whole thing.
Okay.
That's the only way I would see at this point that we can afford to do that until we get all. the
Otherwise, we
budget
wouldn't be able to
lines
do it
taken
until the next
fiscal year.
who knows when.
Fiscal decade.
Given everything that we're hearing tonight.
Yeah.
And I guess we really wouldn't have to approve it tonight, I mean,
Well, but you're on a time crunch,
Right.
Yeah.
We might better.
and the sooner you
might
can set them loose on that to get going, so
Right.
that we can make sure that LMC can continue to go, because we want
Yeah.
LMC to continue to grow.
LMC's deadline is March. They're really, they said they're on track for March.
He was pretty confident.
There are,
that we could
but
get stuff
I think in
going.
the end, it would be on track with when we were able to accept.
Yeah,
Right.
right, yeah.
And if we're not able to accept, and that's why we want to make sure we're able to accept, and we're at that,
We gotta protect ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, LMC's gotta wait until we're ready to accept, I would think. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
and there should be, maybe some of this cost should be bared by LMC.
I don't disagree with that either. I mean, they're the ones that are, it's their flows that's really making us have to look at this.
What they're doing is, folks, is LMC is doing they're cleaning their own metals, and their own pipes, and some of the water, some of that flow, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but is gonna end up going down through our system. And it has to have special guidelines and filtration and all that stuff in order for, once it's filtered correctly and put into the creek. If that's not done right, we don't have the stuff to do it with flow meters and whatnot. And for some reason, you know, at whatever point, conservation or whoever the powers to be come down and inspect that or test it, village is held liable. And it could be tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was just one aspect that he talked about.
And they're gonna have like a treatment plant down at LMC.
Yeah.
To catch it, to pre-treat the water before it even gets to
Before it gets to
us.
us, it's
Yeah.
gonna be
And there's
treated
flows,
twice, basically.
and it really over a regular, ordinary person, it really just overreaches exactly what, you know, you need an engineer to be able to protect our rear end, to say this is how the village is not gonna protect this.
And that's gotta be monitored.
And we do have a plus Pradeep when he was down here. He's the head of Region 8, and he said that, you know, he knows all about it, and he said that he would guide us all the way through to make sure it's done properly.
He's the guy.
But it has nothing to do with water rates and sewer rates and any of that stuff. It's basically the water and sewer infrastructure with what comes in and what goes out.
And saving the village down the line.
And saving the village down the line, absolutely.
Yeah, we hold the permit.
Because inevitably
Keep
that
us
water goes
inside.
into our plant, it goes out, we didn't treat it right, and it goes out in the creek,
We're in trouble.
we're in trouble.
And they do check it.
Well, that or we have the eco people and
When would they start
Greenpeace.
working on these, Scott? When would they start really laying down the,
I
Probably
would
after
think
the
better at the
holidays.
first of the year.
Yeah.
he said it could be pretty quick. You're talking about MRB?
yeah.
Yeah. Because
Because we don't want to hold up
have.
LMC. We want LMC to be able to continue growing and doing what they're doing down there, because it's,
They could start on that portion first and actually complete that, and we could act on that, assuming we could, you know, if they weren't completed in time for LMC to start up their operation. So that would be one possibility.
Mhm.
And time is still of the essence. They got to start it as soon as we can.
Well, the other
That they
thing
can
too
get
is-
started, you know.
is like what Bill said, that he's got a couple other places that he helped write
Mhm.
these. So he's got an idea of
Yep.
where we want to go with it.
We ought to move on it.
I agree.
So do I have a motion then that we,
I'll make the motion that we.
okay? I have a motion by trustee Humphrey. We'll rewrite these laws. 14-8.
just barring the money is able to come out of the plant at
Correct.
this point.
Yep.
Yep, I agree.
And once we have all the proper paperwork and everything.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by trustee Labar. Discussion.
when it qualifies for the grant, that'll be the 50% grant. 100%?
No, there'd be no
No.
grant on that.
No, not grant.
They'll be right on the regular plan, 0%.
It was 0%.
Yeah.
So the grant, there is no grant involved here.
No.
That
No,
was
it's on
this
the
one.
composting side, the 50/50 is just
Right.
composting, anything to do with composting.
I think there was, from what I heard, there was some assumption that there was going to be some grant money available for this. There isn't.
Yeah.
Not that I'm-
Just so we're clear
It's
on
just
that.
the no interest loan.
Yeah. No, right.
0% to 0% loan.
There's another contingency that's down
I
there.
think I said the
Yeah.
grant, but I meant the 0%.
Okay,
One of the
You're right,
contingency.
that's what I had said.
okay.
There's no further discussion. Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And Mayor's an aye. Motion passes. Do we have any more information on the plow and the salter?
Yes, I have tons of, I didn't copy it all, I didn't want to drown you guys and cut trees down, but basically the plow itself is $5,900.
Okay.
The salt box, I have prices from $4,000 to $8,000, so, you know, the $4,000 one will do us just fine. And then the boys asked if we have to put a body on the truck. if we could get one to tilt it, because what they do when after they salt, they lift it up so they can hose it out, clean it out. With just a flatbed, it's gonna be difficult to hose it out. So I did find a body, the cheapest one I could find, it basically it's just a flatbed and the tilts up is 4,000. So I'm at 14,000 to do it that way, and we would have to put the body on, because they want like 1,500 to put it on, and we can do that. So,
14,000 total.
yep.
13,900.
Give me $100, leave it right here.
Just going on.
No, but there's some other things on the body, but like I say, our guys could do in the shop themselves just to save money. So, that's where we're at with that.
And where's this money coming from?
Out of the equipment line.
Equipment line?
You want the number? It's a line item that I haven't touched at all. It's 25,000.
Is that a line item that we're gonna have to touch
Later.
in regards to these budget modifications that we were just talking about?
Those are done, those are all set. What we just did tonight. Are you talking like the labor and that?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we had that, we'll talk about that later, but I think we had that figured out before. After you came up
Right.
with the suggestions.
I think we did talk about that, yeah.
And what about the retirement things and projections? On the, I guess on the highway, we were good on that because we were low. It's the water and sewer where we're.
Right, the laborers are the issue for general, the retirement's the issue for water and sewer. Yep.
So there's definitely money in those lines. We haven't touched that line item yet, 25,000. I like the idea of it just because Scott has said he's, gives the truck, puts him back the right things so that he can be plowing with his truck and doesn't have to give his work truck up and come in with his personal vehicle and use. I like to keep all the guys who are plowing in village-owned vehicles
Yep.
while they're plowing or while they're working.
Right.
So you have a motion? Need a motion to-
Yes. If we're gonna vote on it.
You guys want to do that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, I'll make a motion to spend 14,000.
Okay, a motion by trustee
I'll
Humphrey.
give him the $100.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
This is Christmas,
Robin's already
And he's
given
out
it
of tick, and he's out of tick.
One tic tac, so one time.
Yeah, Ben's giving his share. I have a motion by trustee Humphrey to go ahead and purchase the street department plow and salt box, as well as the system for tilting. I guess I'm not sure the appropriate
Till bed.
tilt bed. There you go. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Whitenack. Thank you very much. Further discussion. Got both ends today.
The bookends.
Hey.
Okay. Trustee Whitenack.
Aye.
Trustee Labar.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much. I do not have any new business. I was not told that there was any new business, but that doesn't mean anything because I probably wouldn't have heard it anyway. So,
I
if
don't.
anybody got anything they want to add?
I don't.
Okay.
This is from our village clerk, and it appears as though we need to discuss transferring $30,000 from the general fund into the sewer fund, in addition to what we approved when we last met. Any comments
Yeah,
around
I just
that?
didn't want to interrupt earlier, so I just slid Dick a note on that.
Oh, I see that
How'd
very
I do
official.
on that?
That fit right in.
Oh, what was that again?
You put that in department head, and hand it over to him next time.
Yeah.
That's what we do up here.
Yeah.
Megan did mention this to me earlier.
We did
today.
talk about it, but
Somebody had to bring it up, so I brought it
Yeah,
up.
okay.
there were a lot of items that we were talking
we did
about.
talk about.
I just didn't want to miss it. As we talked about last month, we would reevaluate this month. Once the bills came in, I would feel comfortable once again to transfer another $30,000 to cover prepays, payroll, as we did last month. So the sewer fund would then owe the general fund $60,000
$60,000.
total. I don't I don't see payback being an option until the April billing. I mean, you guys look at the projections. We're right now, the way the projections are, it's going to put us in a deficit for the fiscal year. So that's what I would feel comfortable with. Where the January billing's right around the corner, so hopefully then that will help us start covering our bills from that point. But like I said, I reviewed the bills, once they came in, and we're just cutting it too close. And I need the board approval, and I can't wait until next month.
Would they come out of fund balance or?
Yep, that would come out of general fund balance
Okay.
and
Yep.
out of the savings account, and I would have to transfer into sewer.
At what point, if we're still borrowing, when will we start? Because eventually it's got to start ramping back up, because next year we get another $400 and some thousand bill to pay. We're anticipating that we can't even pay back the $60,000 till April. How are we going to make enough money between April and the following year to cover that big bill?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that depends on what you do with the rates. I mean, I look at it
Hey,
right
whoa,
now.
we just did something. Right? So, I don't do anything anytime soon.
Don't kill the messenger.
I know.
Not what was recommended, Dan, remember that.
We had a couple rate studies done. But what I'm looking at is people are using less and less. Where I had projected our rates to be for, Karen was printing bills today, so I asked her if she had the numbers by any chance, because they did the readings for the January bills, and she printed out a report for me, and it's much less because people are using much less. I guess that's what happens when you do a rate increase.
We knew that was coming. We knew it would be
So-
I
conservation.
thought so.
Yeah, so we knew that was coming, and then, again, on this report, it shows arrears too, and the arrears are water and sewer combined, so I'm not sure the breakdown, but $86,000 in arrears right now.
Is that
So a little
normal?
less than half of that is probably sewer.
It's higher this year than it was, I think, last year this time, but we've had higher.
Oh, yeah.
We never ever get so we can be like, oh well, hey, the 86,000 was paid today, so
Now we get back in, was it April?
And they are doing shut-offs right now.
Yep, they'll speed things up a little bit on
Yeah.
payment.
Yeah,
That'll bring some money in.
yeah.
it's sad.
Well,
Never ends. Trustee Dan.
Yeah, I know.
So, but please take a look at the projections. I think I emailed those out too.
You did, I saw,
And-
yeah, I got
And
it.
if there's any other information I can gather for you, let me know.
we've been talking about this for how long, and because all the uproar that went on, we did change them, and yet you don't see a whole lot of people coming to the meetings trying to understand what's happening, other than these ladies here.
I know.
Same faces.
Yep.
We're happy you're here too.
It's better than going to the movies.
Cheaper.
Well, it depends how you look at that.
We could use our water.
This is a show that gives them more bills.
See, bring her too.
Okay, so we basically have a motion on the table. Well, no, we don't have the motion yet, but we need a motion.
I'll make the motion that I
Okay.
can do that transfer.
You know, a motion by Trustee Humphrey. Well, you're busy tonight.
I'm on my game.
To move 30,000 from the general fund balance to that was what, sewer?
Sewer, yes.
Yeah,
How you
sewer.
make the payment? We can't even cover everything now. We gotta make $400 other payment.
Well, we just need to keep track of it, which we are.
We're supposed to note that somewhere.
I'm also adding it to I have a spreadsheet in the office, but I'm also adding it to the punch list. So we'll see that the first 30,000 is on the punch list that I just updated tonight.
Yep. Okay, that's good.
And I'll add the next 30,000.
Okay.
Next to that, if you would just indicate the date of when we acted on it, in
Yes.
case there's any question, we can go back.
Yes.
Is there a possibility after the January billing to be able to pay back half of that?
That's what I was gonna ask, is it between now and once that,
You know, not the whole
Fund
thing, but is there a
increases.
possibility of paying that back? Half of it back after the January billing, like let's say February, and then maybe the other half after the April billing?
Have to wait
I
and
just-
see.
We can look at it and see how quickly payments are coming in for January, and then how we're doing on our budget. You know, just,
Budget alone, we're supposed to pay it back by the end of the fiscal year, so that's why I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why I would really like to take a look at it earlier to even get half of it back, and then, you know, just if that's a possibility.
we will continue to look at it.
Let's hope not looking at it for another
Yeah.
30.
I mean, if there is anywhere that we can cut in the sewer budget, and, you know, with the retirement, I called Scott too, because I needed his advice, because I don't know the operations of that, but if there, we talked about, like Scott had mentioned, maybe the part-time laborer, he could hold off on filling that. You know, we talked about a couple different things, but I can't speak really for that budget, but anything we can do to freeze some of the spending would help us pay it back sooner.
In the water and sewer, or in the sewer sides where.
In the sewer side, yeah.
I think that if it's not a necessity, we have to halt any spending out of the sewer side if it's not a necessity. I know we don't want to do
I
it.
went through just tonight, just sitting here, I come up with 100,000 that we wouldn't even have to spend, so I don't think the budget's gonna be that bad a shape. really. I mean, there's a
Well-
lot of things now that we're not gonna do, that we don't have to do.
So
So,
you think we can make these,
I think we're gonna make it, yeah. I think we're gonna be really close.
Maybe
I think that.
as long as everyone's on board with what's going on so that it's not, you know, on the sewer side. I mean, the spending that we do, you know, has been out of the water, the street side or on the water side with the thing up there, and them are in the decent areas, but it's where that big payment of that 505
Yep.
really put the sewer behind, and it plays catch up. So,
Plus, we waited a whole quarter before it raised rates.
right,
Right.
yeah.
And that
so
budget was-
if you can try to take those budget lines that you just say here real quickly, and you can maybe knock that 100,000, set it aside, and let's wait and see what happens. I mean, I would be really much in favor of that.
We'll also be getting some money back, not a whole lot, in the grand scheme of things. When, I mean, if Joe Schmo over on the corner, it's going to be a lot of money, but for the village. But when we get the tax levy money, we should be getting that in what, April?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that would bring in some money, help, not solve the problem.
But
But
if you can do that, I mean, just as long as everyone knows on
And
the
if I
same
had a
page.
copy of that, where the savings are, that would help me in my projections.
If you guys
and
can sit down tomorrow
in
and
my
go over
budget
it,
projections, it would be easier to track if I had that.
you guys can sit down tomorrow
You
and
know,
we can
or
go
a
over this so
firm
you guys
number
are
or
on the same
whatever.
page. And make sure that
we'll have a
Trustee
pity party.
Deputy Mayor LeVar is involved in that conversation.
We'll be having that conversation here real soon with budget, so. Well,
True.
next week?
A
right
lot
on.
of conversations.
Yep.
Well, I just, you know, with the,
Supposed to be
Yeah.
last week.
just want to really, I mean, if he can find $100,000 to be able to
That would
say,
be great.
that would be great.
At least then we can
And
monitor.
Then
I guess
maybe
it's
then
not
we
as
can
tight
look
as
at
I
that
thought it was.
30,000 coming back early. I just don't like to do twos and do froms, even though I know that it's a necessity.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Is there anything else?
You know,
Oh, did we vote it?
Wait,
No, we haven't. We haven't even gotten a second yet. Thank you.
Yeah, the thing is Scott can see 100,000 he can do away with, or if it can come up.
Can't really do away with it, it's
But-
things that I'm
but
just
the thing of
kicking
it
the
is,
can down the road.
yeah, right,
You know?
exactly, you know, but the thing of it is that $100 is services that's gonna be performed by your department. Now, that's $100,000 that's not gonna be done, you know?
Pump station repairs, that's a huge item that we keep putting off,
You know,
sooner or later. it's gonna
Exactly,
bite
you
us, I
know,
think.
one of these days it's gonna bite us.
Let's hope not before,
Well,
Before we get out of here?
no, because I'm not a kick the can type of person, but I am a budget type of person, and I like to make sure we stay within our budget lines.
Well, this year's been a tight one. We said it would be. And I think we're seeing right now that there's not a whole lot of flexibility.
and, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we go past 9 o'clock.
Okay, we have.
You are early.
Yeah,
There
well.
you go.
I have a motion by trustee Whiteneck to go beyond 9 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Humphrey. Whoa.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I'm
I need, now, we actually do have a motion on the floor that we need to take care of You made the motion.
I made the motion.
I need a second on the 30,000.
Second on transferring or loaning the
Yeah, I have
30,000.
1,000, yeah, I got a second from, yeah, I got 1,000 from, got a second from trustee LeBar. Any discussion, further discussion? Not hearing any. Trustee Whiteneck,
Aye.
trustee LeBar,
Aye.
trustee Rittenhouse,
Aye.
trustee Humphrey,
Aye.
mayor's an aye, thank you. Okay, now. Action list recap. What you got there, Megan? What you
Okay.
got on your list that we need that we didn't go over in the beginning?
I did add a few things from the list that I gave you guys last week because I found a few notes that I had made that I forgot I had. One of them was streetlights on Highland. And then the general fund loan to sewer that we just talked about. And then also I had on there begin working on the ambulance contract, just as a
Yes.
reminder.
I actually got, of course, I got an email from Jerry tonight about that. Jerry Jackson.
Yeah, it's in the-
He wanted to know where it was. I said, well, I haven't seen him. He's gonna come on over and talk to us about it.
Oh, he was looking for the contract?
We wanna know where we stood on it.
Oh, okay.
Don't stand anywhere unless he wants to come over and, you know.
I thought that's what they were gonna do.
Yes,
Yeah.
I see that he just
He
wants to
did
do it.
stop in, he did stop in yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I'll be happy to talk to
he
him.
didn't mention that, we had a couple other things that we talked about.
I'll get back with him. It was
What is
just
that
question.
split? Is it 60/40?
It's 60/40 for this year only.
Yeah, and he wanted to go another year, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And then from tonight, there was, Dan, you mentioned using Facebook, to do the police officer's ad. Is that,
Yes.
add that?
Mhm.
And then,
And on that, if you just ask people who read it to share it, and then it'll just continue to multiply out to other people. That's a good way to get that out there.
I'm gonna get the updated numbers, for the pension plan. I think that was it. I'm gonna email everyone the latest and greatest report for EFC financing, for the plant. And that's all I have.
And the updated budgets after the budget mods and where they stand, right?
Yeah, yep.
One thing I'd like to take a look at, and nothing has to be done this week or even next week, so but sometime. Take a look at, I know our money in the bank is not broken down for specific purposes. A lot of it isn't, some of it is. That was to avoid the number of having all those extra accounts and everything in there. Can we break it down to show how much what shows on our bank statement, which fund it belongs to from our end of it? So I know exactly how much money is in there that goes to water, how much goes to sewer in
Well,
general. I know general's pretty
General water
straightforward.
and sewer are all separate bank accounts.
Yeah, but there's other funding in there.
What we did is we did, that spreadsheet, I have one with me if I can find it. That shows the fund balance. At the end of the year, or the beginning of this year, we did, the spreadsheet that shows fund balance, compensated absences, different liabilities, that type of thing. And then we did set aside a certain amount for like ambulance, so maybe we could put that in a reserve.
Mhm.
So I'll show that to you, and then if we can tweak it at all.
Yeah, I'd just like to have something so I look at it
and
and
I
say
can
we
work
are
on
on
that.
budget for our revenues or we're not on budget for revenues and our spending is already
And
exceeding.
it would be nice to approve at some point the investment policy, so that maybe we could get going on that. At least the general fund is in a little bit better shape right now, that we could pull some of the fund balance, or compensated absence liability out and start investing it, and that'll at least help cushion pay increases as employees are turning that in.
Okay.
So
it's
Good
not.
idea, but you and I can get together on that, and I can
All right.
tweak it.
Anything else for the action list for Megan, or any of the board members? You want to put in there? Okay, not hearing any. Go to community comments on anything that was discussed this evening. Do I have any questions from the public?
Yeah, this is your turn.
I just have one question. I want to know, a yes or no, was everything resolved with Doris Conway?
Well, let me put it this way. There was a discussion,
Okay.
and she's not happy.
A yes or a no, okay.
It's an or. It's an or.
Yeah, so whether, the next step would be up to her if she wants to go any further with it.
Thank you.
The Legion did come over and we sat there and had a conversation. One willing to do some things, but they weren't gonna take the sign down.
Okay, thank you.
But it has been being turned off a lot of times,
Yeah.
correct?
It appears to me, I've worked 3 night shifts the last 10 days, and it does appear to me that, when I think of it after midnight.
They close, it
5
goes
to,
off.
That bright red light's gone,
Yeah,
and so it doesn't seem, it seems to me, it seems better.
yeah.
I don't know if it's perfect, but it does seem better.
I think they're trying to accommodate her, and it's just, it's, so,
And that wasn't discussed.
I know, what is it?
that's,
Okay, I have a question. You know, people, maybe if people knew more about what was happening or what was transpiring in the village, like I didn't know about the bus and the toys and the stuff like that. Is there any way that we could do a community effort to get a marquee in front of our government center here that will, in use with the solar power, if that gentleman will talk to us so that it can be run like that, but have an announcement board, something like that, so it could tell people, inform
Boca has
people.
one of those. It's really cool. It's right in the center of town. It's on the bank property. It faces Main Street and has all of what's coming up and Christmas in the park and 4th of July stuff and Veterans Day, think of that. All that, and it's all programmed. I don't know who takes care of it, who programs everything, but and it's nice. It's not real big, and it looks nice. They got kind of like a little garden
Exactly.
Yeah.
around it.
Now, where's this at?
And Boca.
Oh, in Volca.
Take a ride there to see what I'm talking about, but like, I don't always, I've got a great phone, I don't always sit and play with it, I've got other things I'm doing, but like, even basketball games, something, I gotta take time to drive down by the school, because I wanna, get to know what's going on, and I think even like with the water sewer thing that went on with the school and we were having issues, everybody said, well, I didn't know about it, and then finally it got word of mouth, and then by the time they found out about it, it was too late to give any input, and I think a lot of citizens are upset about that. And they're just giving this attitude, but I drove around the village and to see how everybody is getting involved with the Christmas holiday. If we could just give back something. I used to live on Elizabeth Street, and also down on Clinton Street with my grandmother when I was little. And Yoki's was up here and that, and everybody did things together in a community, even though it might have been in their sections. The park at William Street there, during the summer there was a rec program for all the kids. Like somebody said, well, there's no kids around. Well, it's because you're not seeing them, because they're in front of their devices and they're not out. And we got to try to improve things. And I just thought, just start somewhere. Maybe you can't afford it, but at least I would love to start a committee or even get people out there saying, let's care about Dansville. I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there to the wind. Like I'm going to go to the orientation tomorrow for volunteering for the Red Cross for the disaster. I didn't even know about that until somehow that popped up. I don't know where I saw that, but I would have known about it because I don't get the local paper till it's too late. Might get groceries on Saturday and it's already, comes out on Thursday. The news is too late, everything has already happened. So any thoughts on that? Do you see of any of interest? How it could be of value? And I think it should be right here in front of where everything takes place so people can look forward to it.
Megan, would you add that to our list, please?
Sure.
Something at least that's there in front of us and let's give some more thought.
Yeah.
The one thing you can push also is like our Facebook page, everyone's on that. Well, not everyone.
Yeah.
A large portion of people are on
There
that.
you go, and there's a
And
lot
it's a way for us to push a lot of information out. But
Yes.
that's village specific and you're looking community, which is, there is a Dansville community page on there, which I see a lot of people use. It's tough because now you're gonna have people that have to stop out front to look to see what it is.
But at least there's some place they can get information. It's that one person is gonna go and get on a phone or even text, hey, something's happening in the park in Dansville. I'm seeing so many people going into Caledonia and Avon, participating there when there's things here and, nobody's informed. Not everybody does have a computer at home. Not everybody is on Facebook. Like to think they are, unless you want to give every family one, that's great. But remember, there are those people that don't have it. And I just think a way of, you have to inform if you want progress.
I know working at the radio station,
Yeah, we don't even get that anymore.
well, that's another story.
I talked to Dorothy about that. I said, there's nothing.
Now, that's another story, but when I was there, we would promote things
Good
that
evening.
happened in the village, and I know, because I did it myself for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you'd hear people say, I didn't know about it. And, it's all about some people getting involved and not sitting in their home and getting out. Like one lady during the water thing, that was advertised. We were eating more than Tic Tacs, I think, for those meetings being announced. And one lady said that, she doesn't read the paper, she doesn't listen to the local station. And I know the woman, she comes home, goes to work in the morning, comes home, and stays there. And that's not our fault, you know what I'm saying? So people have to take it upon themselves to want to get involved too.
True, but look at the generation that we've got coming around. It's now the baby boomers. If you look at the amount of 80s, 70 people that we're losing in our community, and now a new generation is coming up. And look at the board members, the young ones. You're reaching out, you're using
You call me
Facebook.
young.
What do you
The
do?
young one.
And what do you do to get someone to listen to you?
Birthday's next week.
Exactly. You make it known. You use your voice. And like I was saying to Dorothy, and she goes, I know, it is a loss. The only place you can get any kind of news,
Yeah.
there's nothing. And that's what people were complaining about. And if you get disgruntled people, who's going to want to pay their bill? Who's going to want to live here?
Part of it is the quantity of news that's out there today, and the different avenues you have to make that news available to people. It used to be you picked up a paper and everything was there.
Yep.
Now there's so many.
Papers, this little.
There's so many avenues out there to distribute, and everyone kind of has the ones that works for them. It doesn't go across everything that's out there. Dan likes Facebook, and a lot of us get on Facebook, but what are you doing? Are you communicating with your friends? Are you looking for newsworthy items or meetings or like that? And it's difficult. It's difficult.
No, that's not. I'm even going
Yeah.
just to look for the obituary because I have them send them to my email, so I can keep abreast of what's going on there. And then I get to see everybody, and you're still around here?
And it takes time.
Exactly,
What was
Yes.
interesting enough, though, too, back to the radio station, because I put the news on the website that we had. What's interesting is, and it would be broken down into 4 time frames, from when the people got up in the morning to go to work, that's drive time, then you had late morning, you had afternoon, and then from 6 o'clock all the way till 6 in the morning, that was another section. And what was interesting is you could see when people were hitting that website, and then there's supposedly a percentage of correlation to what people are listening to. So what would happen is when I would put those news stories on, what was interesting is if they were human interest stories, or if they were the stories of, it was a huge crash on 390, and those were the ones that got the hits. Not the ones about the Lions Club is sponsoring a chicken barbecue, the Village of Dansville is sponsoring the Halloween parade. It was the drama ones, and I saw it with my own eyes, and it's like, you've got to be kidding me. And my thing when I did the news was more of the local, from Penn to Bath to Perry to here. It was that big of an area, and it just showed that's what people are interested in. And that's why you see the big news stations, the TV stations, that's what they're focusing on. You'll get a minute and a half on a bad story, if you will, but something good, it's maybe a 15, 30-second snippet.
Mhm.
And that's what they go by, 15, 30, and 45.
Well, I just thought this would be nice, and I'm glad
Yeah.
I'll take a run over to Ovalka, because I know, I just think that it needs to be, you need to get out information, other than just thinking.
It's a good
people
idea.
on
You know,
Facebook.
the thing of it is, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I think there has to be some input from the community.
That's it, and I think if they were to know what's happening, you'd get more people coming.
If they were interested in doing community things to promote it.
Or even ask them, what would you like to see? Have you ever done a monkey survey? You guys are on the computer, I mean, I did that for a class, what is of interest to you? What do you want to see from your community, or village, or town? But at least get something going.
Yeah.
Let's wake it up,
I agree.
I can see it like as a pillar type thing, and just having like they're coming in like maybe lasting for 2 minutes, so that you can stop and pull over and read what's happening. And then, I mean, if it wasn't for her calling me saying, "Honey, there's a board meeting tonight," I mean, yeah, I know you think it's the third Tuesday of the month, but still, the days just come on and things happen, and I just think it would be something nice. And like, it doesn't cost, but if you have committees, I wouldn't mind doing something like that to get something started, to say, let's just...
You probably would
Yeah.
gain more ground
Yeah.
if you had something like, we had like a Channel 6, where you turn something
Yeah.
on that you're
Yeah.
viewing constantly,
Yeah.
and it's rolling through what the events are and the activities and everything, and chances are you're going to see that in the course of a day or 2 days, and you're going to have prior knowledge, and at least you're going to know about it.
Right.
Those are type of things, I think, even more than a sign, and I like the idea that are going to get the visibility. Somebody's turning on every day.
And then something to think about for next Halloween, we've got little ones, and I was watching them run back and forth. A lot of the houses turn the lights off. Those that really want to give out for trick-or-treaters and stuff like that, why don't you do trunk and treat? And use the new park that we've got over there. Have people back in, and the little ones are encased in and they can go from car to car, and they're this like from ages infant to 3 or 4, and let the bigger ones can go out there. That's just something I just want to see it prosper. But let's go in the right direction and be considerate of who we are serving. Remember, you are serving someone, and a lot of people think, well, we can't touch them and you can't communicate. Yeah, you can. You guys don't bite. And I just-
He does.
Yeah, you went through a whole
I'll
pack
have
of
to
Tic
get him
Tacs
some
tonight.
Tic Tacs. I know. I see his fetish there.
And some down a cherry coke on top of it, too. You talk
Until
about-
midnight.
you talk about-
He's good. I was going to say, by midnight, he'll be ready for
I'd like to
that.
see-
Yeah,
I'd like to
talk
see
about some fizz, huh?
Community interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember back when even the Lions or the Rotary, when we put that beautiful clock. I mean, I think the clock is an hour behind. But still, how many people really stop and look at that anymore?
Yeah.
Is it decorated?
It was actually the Women's Civic Club.
Yeah, see, maybe we can come up with another club, or just people, just have I care,
Yeah.
and let's let people give input.
And I think I can speak for everybody on the board. That's stuff that we would like to see. I mean, but you got to have more than just.
Numbers and bills, and because that's what people are getting at home. We are here. We want people to stop driving to Rochester. I mean, I had a terrible time when I went there this week. People were so rude. You were supposed to have something that I had earned in points and raised, and sorry, you don't get it. Don't tell me that. I worked all year to get this, but still, so I know I look at possibly more businesses. I've been talking to Tom. There was something I wanted to start, even like doing a Christmas store at Christmas time, like starting in October, even a costume. We've got some buildings that are empty. I want to be able to just have someone to communicate with. Let's just wake us up. We're in the
Should approach
valley. We're
the
not
Chamber
dead.
of Commerce on a lot of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Most
wanna
meetings
say-
are open to the public.
Yeah.
It used to be, I don't know.
First Monday of the month.
First Monday of the month.
Really?
7:30 over at
At,
Wamps.
Town Wamps, really.
Okay, good.
I'd like to see so many people in there that they'd have to move it out of town lots.
I
Absolutely.
did. I went to see Mr. Wong about this. So
Yep.
it's the first Monday.
First Monday.
At once.
And it's like usually in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9.
7:30.
It's a 7.
Oh, good. It's in the morning. Oh, that's good. that's good, I like
Yeah.
that.
You go to breakfast before or after?
And you can even be late for work and
Bring
give you a
breakfast.
pass for your boss to say.
Oh, no, I'm retired now, that's why, you know, I took that option for me. So, I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, if I
Same
could,
to you.
if those words could come out.
Same to
For
you.
those who might be offended, Happy Holidays, receive it
No,
sweet.
Merry Christmas.
Whatever is your
Yeah,
preference.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Hopefully Charlie has a
Merry
good break,
Christmas.
nobody's drinking and driving.
Good luck on that
Oh,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
are you going to offer for New Year's Eve, escort if someone wants to call, and there won't be, you know, to come and pick them up?
They'll always escort somebody.
Oh, no, not a friend.
Always remember them cars are blue and white, not yellow. But because
But see, isn't there something called the forgiveness? Isn't there a day that you can forgive and
You wanna
just
take the
open
trees
that?
down
There is.
there?
That's up to
that's
the,
when you pay your court costs.
that's,
The judge gets to do that.
Yeah.
People will be about to take the trees down.
There's also a thing
Yeah, I'll
called
give you my
sound
number, tell
judgment.
them to call me.
Think before you drink.
Yeah, a drink is a drink is a drink. Just remember, it's a DUI or a
You know,
DWI.
you just stay home and get blasted.
yeah.
Yeah, or else make sure you got
Yeah,
safety.
just
No,
follow.
you'll
The
see.
ones where you get the ones fighting.
Okay.
So thanks,
Any more?
guys.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Any more comments from the public? Not hearing any. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing a matter of litigation and some employment work history or employee work history.
Motion.
A motion?
Also have an issue I'd like Megan to say, just for, take 5 minutes.
All right. You can get that stuff on the agenda.
Well, I didn't,
Yeah, you didn't think.
no, I didn't have time to get on the agenda.
Okay.
Francis told me.
With that,
This is my legal- everybody
okay,
told me.
got a motion from trustee Rittenhouse. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Humphrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's 11:20.
You want to help?
9:20.
9:20.